Text that again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, and that, stop it. Knock it off, cuz. Stop it. Tell them to send that bag, and I'm coming. And I'm, you know.
Gervonta Tank Davis initially stated he can't fight YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul, who is 12 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 7 wins by way of knockout, until he reached the status of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Canelo Alvarez.
I think it's great for boxing. I think like boxing right now is like on top, you know what I'm saying, of the sport, bro. You know, one thing is boxing will never die, bro. Like everybody wants to see that kind of combat.
Gervonta Davis shared his first comments on the Jake Paul fight, making it clear he isn't impressed. Davis confidently stated Jake can't compete with him, stressing that the YouTuber turned boxer is nothing more than an Instagram fighter. He added that Jake is overweight and lacks the skill or experience to truly test him, leaving no doubt about how little he values Jake's chances.
To me, like, I don't think that would even be like fair.
No, I think that he's you know how he got fat? He's a Instagram boxer.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to leave my girl
wouldn't
around
say
and shit,
that.
but like, I don't know
No, he
about
would
when it comes to
definitely fuck my
boxing.
girl.
Like,
It wouldn't be fun. He's
no,
really good.
I wouldn't want to leave.
No, he
like,
would. It's not
you
fair.
know, I'd probably be a little worried, to be honest. But
With Ryan?
when it comes to boxing,
Ryan
it's
looks like a Greek
Tank,
goddess.
Tank would fucking toss him down.
Oh, he
Yeah.
does. He's a good-looking dude. You're right. I wouldn't be afraid
Yeah.
to leave my girl around him.
And he is dope to watch in like the Instagram videos and shit too. Like he has fast hands and shit. He's obviously a good boxer, but
Yeah.
what about when it comes to like this level? It wouldn't even be fair.
He can't compete with me. People in the gym will tell you like I pretty.
Gervonta Davis has never held back when talking about opponents, and Jake Paul has often been a target of his remarks. In earlier interviews, Davis dismissed the idea of fighting Jake, saying he would only consider it if Jake ever reached the level of legends like Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao, or Canelo Alvarez. By setting that standard, Davis highlighted that boxing is about legacy, respect, and accomplishments earned over years, not quick fame or social media buzz. Now, with the fight official, the story has changed. Fans point out the contrast between Davis's earlier stance and his decision to sign the deal. Critics argue that while he once placed legacy above all, the lure of a massive payday may have influenced him. To them, Davis has gone from dismissing Jake as irrelevant to accepting the chance when money appeared. This shift has sparked debate, questioning whether Davis is sticking to his legacy-driven ideals or simply cashing in on spectacle.
Gervonta Tank Davis initially stated he can't fight YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul, who is 12 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 7 wins by way of knockout, until he reached the status of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Canelo Alvarez. And now yesterday, we have gotten an announcement that November 14th in Atlanta, Georgia, Gervonta Tank Davis, instead of fighting the highly anticipated rematch with WBA super featherweight, now lightweight star title contender, whom they fought March 1st to a controversial draw, and that being Lamont Rose Jr., who is 25 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 10 wins by way of knockout. Gervonta Tank Davis is instead going to fight Jake Paul. So now he views himself on the level of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and Canelo Alvarez. He feels like he has achieved what he set out to achieve to reach that level. And/or he just seen the money flashing and decided that's the right direction to go in, because he clearly has not reached that level. He said that he had to do things in the sport of boxing still and fight his peers. He's only fought one guy.
At first, Davis said he couldn't fight YouTube star turned pro Jake Paul, who holds a record of 12 wins, 1 loss, with 7 knockouts, unless he reached the status of Mayweather, Pacquiao, or Alvarez. But now the announcement is official. On November 14th in Atlanta, Georgia, Gervonta Tank Davis will fight Jake Paul. This comes instead of a highly anticipated rematch with WBA contender Lamont Roach Jr., who holds 25 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, and 10 knockouts, after their controversial draw on March 1st. Some say Tank now sees himself on the level of Floyd, Manny, and Canelo. Others think he was swayed by money, since he still hasn't accomplished enough to claim that spot. Shakur Stevenson, undefeated and highly skilled, also weighed in. He admitted Jake might bring a size advantage, but insisted it won't matter. Stevenson said boxing isn't won by size, but by skill, speed, and intelligence, qualities Davis has in abundance. He dismissed Jake's chances, arguing that despite training hard, Jake isn't near the level of fighters who've dedicated their lives to boxing. Stevenson believes Tank's explosiveness, accuracy, and knockout power will overshadow Jake's size. Coming from Stevenson, known for his sharp analysis, this opinion carries weight.
His last fight when he fought Lamont, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul, so I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me, so.
You know, Shakur, Jake, when he fought Mike Tyson, he was 227 pounds. He was 199 and like 199 point something his last fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He hasn't been only boxing for a couple of years. He's 12-1. Tank Davis obviously been boxing his whole life. He's 30-0-1. He's knocked everybody out except for 3 opponents in his life. But at what point does size matter so much, though, where it can't be overcome, Shakur? And is it in this case here, when you've got what is like a 70-pound difference between these two guys?
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just going to go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and say he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power. Nah,
not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's going to be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
British heavyweight Dave Allen expressed his disappointment in the Davis vs. Paul fight, calling it another unnecessary exhibition. Allen stressed that boxing should be about real competitive matchups, not spectacle-driven events. In his view, Davis has already proven himself in the sport, and instead of lowering his career value by fighting Jake, he should retire or fight established boxers. Allen argued that fights like this harm the true spirit of boxing. He criticized the trend of social media exhibitions, saying they're about money and entertainment more than authenticity. To him, the best way to respect Davis's career is not by putting him in an odd matchup with Jake Paul, but by letting him leave the sport on his own terms.
He's training this fight, but fighting against real bears. This is true. People are going, no chance, no chance. Do you reckon this guy, could he be the toughest of your opponents so far, do you reckon?
I don't think he's the best that I've faced. I've faced a few Olympic medalists, a few world title challengers, but I think he's probably the most dangerous. Maybe not the best boxer, he might not be the most technical, but he hits really hard, he's really big and strong, so yeah, I think it's the most dangerous task I've faced, but he may be not the best fighter I've been in with.
Whereabouts is the fight, Dave? Where are you fighting him?
He's still at Sheffield Arena,
right.
Headlining in Sheffield, which is like my local arena. So yeah, it's a big night for me.
He won his last fight, didn't he, Dave, against Ricardo Brown, and 20 wins, 19 KOs he's got. So like you says, he's dangerous. How's the training gone for you ahead of this fight?
Yeah, it's been good. He's put a bit of fear in me, to be honest. I have had a bit of genuine fear. I've been stopped, but I've never been on the canvas ever as a pro or amateur, so. And I'd like to keep it that way, really. Yeah. I'm not on anyone's highlight reel. You see highlight reels of all the fighters I face, I'm not on any of them. And I'd like to keep it that way, so So yeah, training has gone up a notch. For the Fisher rematch, I did weigh a little bit heavy. So for this one, if I cut any corners, there's a good chance I'll get beat in bad fashion. So it has really picked me up a little bit. I've been training a tiny bit harder. I've been eating a whole lot better than resting, and I think I'm looking at a career best performance.
Good man. Let's move on top of this big news of the day. Cruiserweight Jake Paul and WBA lightweight world champion Gervonta Davis will step in the ring together in an exhibition in Atlanta November 14. For context, the top weight for a cruiserweight sits at 90.7 kilos, while the heaviest a lightweight can be is 61.2. Dave, this is surely I know it's an exhibition, but this is a mismatch, surely. It's ridiculous.
I'm not a fan of exhibitions as it is. I think if we're doing exhibitions, if there have to be a thing, it'll be a thing for retired fighters.
On Ariel Helwani's show, analysts debated the Davis versus Paul matchup. While the fight draws headlines, they argued it doesn't feel like a true competitive contest. Some compared it to Mike Tyson's recent exhibition, where the focus was entertainment more than proving skill. The analysts noted the size gap. Jake has a much larger frame, giving him a physical advantage, but they acknowledged Davis's speed, ring IQ, and skill could still lead him to victory. Still, they pointed out the weight difference changes the nature of the fight. For them, it's less about who's the better boxer and more about how the spectacle plays out for viewers. They warned fans not to confuse this with a legitimate clash, but to see it as an event made to entertain, spark discussion, and draw attention. In their eyes, this fight represents spectacle over sport.
And by the way, like I feel like this was similar to as I alluded to earlier, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight had similar kind of question marks around it, like, is this going to be an exhibition or is this going to be an official fight? And you kind of go through the motions and go through the process of this. So I imagine that Jake Paul, Nikisa Badarian, and MVP are going through the process of trying to get this to be an official fight. And if not, they can still do this as an exhibition, no problem. What weight class they meet at is going to be very fascinating, right? Like, is Jake Paul going to try to get down lower in weight to make it more fair?
Can they meet at a weight class, or they just agree on what they're willing to fight at?
Even if they meet at a weight class, let's just do the math, right? Even if they met at, I don't know, 190? No, I don't think Jake Paul can get that
up to 190.
I don't think Jake Paul can get down to that.
Thus, why I think it'll be an exhibition.
No, Gervonta can get up to. Okay, there's in MMA, for certain weight classes, you must be a minimum weight, right? You can't be within X percentage difference of your opponent.
Yeah.
There are some jurisdictions where I don't believe that is accurate, where that is true. I'm curious if Atlanta is one of them. We should try to look into that if we can. Maybe Jordan can look into that. If there's a weight minimum that you have to meet. Otherwise, if they agreed to a catch weight of, let's say, 100, what's the lowest Jake Paul's ever fought at?
I don't know. 185 for the Nate Diaz fight?
I have to think that's the smallest, right? Here, we're going to do...
Okay, let's say, like, you can get down to 180.
Unfortunately, Tapology doesn't have the weight on here.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say he can get down to one of those weights. Let's just say, hypothetically, 185. Is Gervonta Davis getting up to that?
He will not get up to that, but he can get within 20 pounds of it, maybe? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, do you think it's a strategic move for them to put it in Atlanta?
Carl Froch, the former super middleweight champion, didn't hold back when asked about the fight. He called it an absolute joke. Froch, known for brutal honesty, said fights like this damage boxing's integrity. He argued Davis should face legitimate challenges in his division, not Jake Paul. According to him, Jake's boxing journey should remain separate from elite fighters. His harsh dismissal reflects the frustration of purists who feel spectacle fights overshadow true contests between world-class athletes.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think, but the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November, I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in. I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf. I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Frotch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Veteran Gabe Rosado shared a different view. While many criticized the fight, Rosado saw a surprising positive: the undercard. He revealed the entire Davis vs. Paul undercard would feature women's fights, making it historic for female boxing. In his eyes, this makes the card special, putting global attention on women's boxing through a platform like Netflix. Rosado said while the main event might lack competitiveness, the chance it gives female fighters is huge. Millions watching the spectacle will also see women's boxing, which could drive more growth and investment in the sport. For him, this is the silver lining of a controversial matchup, proving even unusual fights can bring benefits.
Man, I think it's great for boxing. I think like boxing right now is like on top, you know what I'm saying, of the sport, bro. You know, one thing is boxing will never die, bro. Like everybody wants to see that kind of combat, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's great for the sport, you know, and the thing is that the Netflix, the production factor behind it is legit, you know what I'm saying? And the cards are actually good fights. The only one that was, a bit of a dud was was watching old Mike Tyson back, man. But I love Mike, you know, but he wasn't his usual self. But other than that, man, they've been great events.
What do you think about Tank and Jake Paul?
You know, man, I don't know if that's actually real. You know what I'm saying? Could it be just publicity? Could it be just, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's legit, man. You know, I
think Jake just posted it up too.
Yeah.
Not Tank yet. Not Tank yet.
Yeah, that's part of the biz, man. It's just, look, man, one thing that I learned being around Jake, you know what I'm saying, is
post early.
Huh? What's up?
Posting a little early.
No. It's just like he just gets people talking. You know what I'm saying? And he keeps his name, you know, on the top of the subject. You know what I'm saying? So, it's marketing, bro. It's marketing.
Promoter Eddie Hearn added intrigue by suggesting a Davis vs. Shakur Stevenson fight could follow the Paul matchup. According to him, it makes sense financially and competitively. The fight with Jake would bring mainstream attention and revenue, while Davis vs. Stevenson would give purists a true spectacle. Hearn said Stevenson has the talent and discipline to challenge Tank, and a clash between the two would carry massive importance for the lightweight division.
I will have to come up with something for Shakur Stevenson. If I don't, that may be the end. It's got to work for me as well as Shakur. Maybe I haven't got anything for him, maybe he hasn't got anything for me, but right now I know what we agreed with His Excellency, and that's what we'll do for now, and then see where we go.
You said you wanted to make that Tank fight, so hopefully we can see that in the future, Eddie.
Jake Paul, isn't he? So he's got, I don't know whether he'll fight, what's the rematch?
Lamont Roach.
I don't know if he'll still fight Lamont Roach. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November, and then maybe Shakur after that.
Thank you, Eddie. Thanks.
Public reaction has been split. Some fans love the entertainment, while others strongly disapprove. One of the loudest critics is Lamont Roach, who accused Davis of ducking him by taking Jake instead of their rematch. Roach argued that real contenders who earned their rankings are being ignored while Jake Paul, an outsider, gets the spotlight. For Roach and many in the boxing community, the sport should reward skill, work, and legacy, not just popularity and spectacle.
Received a whole lot of backlash from the boxing community, with many saying that in a way they felt somewhat betrayed and very, very disappointed. Lamont Roach reacted to this news by calling Gervonta Davis a duck, while Ryan Garcia said that the WWE influence has officially spilled over the boxing industry. Now, going through multiple boxing forums, Tank's fanbase, who normally are very active in regards to defending Gervonta Davis, have been noticeably silent. This glorified sparring session is expected to make a lot of buzz, and even though it may be for all the wrong reasons, well folks, just like Tyson versus Paul, this too is expected to make a lot of money for both contestants. Critics online have pointed out that Tank Davis, who's been very vocal about wanting to retire for quite some time now, could be doing just that with one last big payday in exchange for honor, pride, and of course...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more.